Hi, this is my video on Squirrel, only because the squirrel came and sat on the fence for about 3 hours, which I took a lot of video of. I won't show you all 3 hours, it would be rather boring. But anyway, I think it was cold, I was minus 7 degrees centigrade, and he just sat there on top of the fence because it was a sunny day, and I think he was just warming up. But he's a black squirrel, and we have lots of them around here, but he sat on this fence and preened himself, groomed himself, scratched himself, etc. So, this is Squirrel by Gary Ordog, and I'll never forget the Christmas Vacation movie with the Griswold family and the squirrel they had in their Christmas tree and all the havoc that it caused. It was very funny. And Eddie said don't eat them because they're high in cholesterol. So anyway, squirrels are a member of the Squirrel family that includes rodents. The squirrel family includes tree squirrels, ground squirrels, chipmunks, prairie dogs, and flying squirrels. Squirrels are indigenous to the Americas, Eurasia, Africa, and were introduced by humans to Australia. So basically every continent except Antarctica. The earliest known fossilized squirrels date back from the Eocene epoch and are among the living rodent families. The squirrels are most closely related to the mountain beaver. So those are quite a bit bigger than this squirrel is, who's about 2 feet long, including a skinny, actually a fluffy tail. The word squirrel comes from 1327 Anglo-Norman literature and the Latin derivation, ancient Greek perhaps as well, and means long bushy tail, which many members of its family have. This guy kept falling asleep, looked like he was warming up. I guess he was really cold. His eyes keep closing almost, and he looks like he's ready to go to sleep. So, what are we going to do about the squirrel? Squirrels typically have slender bodies with very long bushy tails and large eyes. In general, their fur is soft and silky, though much thicker in some species than others. The coat color of squirrels is highly variable between and often even within species. So this one's a black one. We also have many gray ones, silver ones, and red ones that I have seen. No albinos in this area. In most squirrel species, the hind legs are longer than the forelimbs, while all the species have 4 or 5 toes on each foot. The feet, which include an often poorly developed thumb, have soft pads on the undersides and are versatile, sturdy claws for grasping and climbing. Tree squirrels, unlike most mammals, can descend a tree head first. They do so by rotating their ankles 180 degrees, enabling the hind feet to point backwards and thus grip the tree bark from the opposite direction. Squirrels live in almost every habitat, from tropical rainforest to semi-arid desert, avoiding only the high polar regions and the driest of the deserts. They are predominantly herbivorous, subsisting on seeds and nuts, but many will eat insects and even small vertebrates. As their large eyes indicate, squirrels have an excellent sense of vision, which is especially important for the tree-dwelling species. They also have a good sense of touch. The teeth of the squirrels follow the typical rodent pattern with large incisors for gnawing that grow throughout life, and cheek teeth for grinding that are set back behind the wide gap. Many juvenile squirrels die in the first year of life. Adult squirrels can live lifespan of 5 to 10 years in the wild. Some have survived 10 to 20 years in captivity. Premature death may be caused when a nest falls from a tree, in which case the mother may abandon her young if their body temperature is not correct. Many such baby squirrels have been rescued and fostered by professional wildlife rehabilitators until they can safely be returned to the wild. Stated purposes of the squirrel's tails to benefit the squirrel include to keep rain, wind, and cold off itself, to cool off when hot by pumping more blood through its tail, as a counterbalance when jumping in trees, and as a parachute when jumping, and to signal with. The hairs from squirrel tails are highly prized for fly fishing when tying fly fishing lures or flies. The special quality of the squirrel tail hair is that it is all guard hairs and not undercoat. When the squirrel is sitting upright, its tail folded up back may stop predators looking from behind from seeing the characteristic shape of a small mammal. Squirrels mate once or twice a year, and following a gestation period of 3 to 6 weeks give birth to their young, which are both naked, toothless, and blind. Because squirrels cannot digest cellulose, they must rely on foods rich in protein, carbohydrates, and fats. In temperate regions, early spring is the hardest time for the squirrels because the nuts they buried are beginning to sprout and thus no longer available to eat, while many of the usual food sources have not yet become available. During these times, squirrels rely heavily on the buds of trees. Squirrels, being primarily herbivores, eat a wide variety of plants such as nuts, seeds, conifer cones, fruits, fungi, and green vegetation. Most squirrels, however, also consume meat, especially when faced with hunger. Squirrels have been known to eat small birds, young snakes, smaller rodents, as well as bird eggs and insects. Some tropical squirrel species have shifted almost entirely to a diet of insects. Okay, look at this guy. He's almost asleep. His eyes are almost closed. It's like he's going into hibernation there. But again, he's in the sun. The sun is shining down on him, warming him up. And he's just sitting there enjoying it, trying to get warm. Like I say, it was approximately -7 centigrade when I shot this early in the morning. And there was heavy frost the night before, so I think he was rather cold and trying to get warmed up. Okay, some of the relatives of squirrels: the flying squirrels, pine squirrels, beavers, marmots, prairie dogs. These are all related to this squirrel. And in our area, they live in the conifer forest. We live in western red cedar forest, hemlock, pine trees, and Douglas fir. And they often live in holes in the trees. They have dens in the holes and raise their family in there. They fill it full of food and bedding materials. Nuts, they really like hazelnuts, which are in our area growing wild. And they are actually filbert hazelnuts, which I believe somebody probably planted many, many years ago. I'm not sure if they're native to this area, but there are many of these trees growing here. And these squirrels such as this one. Absolutely love the hazelnuts. Okay, living squirrels are divided into 5 subfamilies, about 58 genera, and 285 species. The oldest squirrel fossil, again, dates to the Eocene epoch, which was 40 to 35 million years ago. And that squirrel was similar to the modern day flying squirrels. There, this guy is really roasting there in the sun, trying to get warmed up. I thought he might have been sick, but at the end of the video he gets up and runs around. Here he's almost asleep. So at first I thought maybe sick, maybe poisoned, or he's scratching himself. He wakes up, but after a couple hours resting and a nap here, warmed up in the sun, he gets up and runs away and starts hunting for nuts that he buried last fall and summer. Alright, I think he, hopefully I added this in the film. He gets up and runs away. I guess I did not do that. Anyway, here's a squirrel, change position. And again, thank you very much for all your kind support throughout the years, and I appreciate that. I would also appreciate if you could register to my channel, subscribe to my channel, and I appreciate that help as well. Here are some awards. Here's a Management of Gunshot Wound textbook. And here's another one of my textbooks, Medical Toxicology. So I do know something about squirrels and squirrel bites and squirrel disease. Press the character below. Thank you and have a good life.